So I got around to playing Dispatch, and I gotta say, it was pretty good. I had a good time with it, and as a fan of Telltale games, it makes me happy to see that this title is hitting the mainstream. It's brought the interest back to the genre and made people discuss the story and the characters quite a bit. Overall, I would say that the story is pretty phenomenal. The cast and crew did a great job in creating this world and introducing it engagingly. All the characters are intriguing, and the interactions they have with each other is non-stop entertainment. And hell, the Dispatch gameplay is also really fun. I wish there was a game that focused solely on something like this. I would love to have just a full game listening to these douchebags bicker with each other, while I send them to go save a cat from a tree. But alas, the most popular discussion with Dispatch, since it has finished its first season, is which character should our main boy Robbie pair up with? Invisigal or Blonde Blazer? If we look at the game's stats, it shows that most players favor Invisigal. However, when we look online, it seems like more people talk about how Blonde Blazer is better. And there is clearly some division over who Robbie pairs better with. So I have come to set the record straight and give my objectively correct opinion. I always have the right opinions. I always tell the truth, even when I lie. So I have come to tell you that the one Robert should get with by the end of the game is neither of them. I believe it is best for Robert if he doesn't get involved with either of the two potential love interests in the game. While that may not be the most exciting or gratifying conclusion, it is one that I think is best for his growth as a character and for him to heal from the events of the past in the long run. Now, it's important to take in consideration how I play as Robert and how I view the romance options. See, all this talk and discussion over who the best girl is reminded me of another argument 10 years ago, with a little unknown game called The Witcher 3. You may have heard of it. Now here, the main character of Geralt had to choose between Triss, Yen, or enjoy a single life. Or choose both, but that doesn't really end well. Also, yes, a reminder, Witcher 3 is 10 fucking years old. But the main thing I take account of when playing something like The Witcher is that I am not playing as me or a character that I make. I am playing Geralt. So I make the decision on who I truly think he works best with. And I feel the same way with Robert as a character. Even though I am controlling him, I want to make the decisions that I think would give the best outcome for him. And with how the community was talking about it, it seemed like going for Invisigal was the way to go. So I pursued it on my first playthrough. Then after a less than successful run, I played through the game again to explore different outcomes and looked up additional information and videos to fill in the gaps. And I think that Bobby should stay far away from both of these girls. Reason number 1. They are both red flags. Invisigal and BB have some massive red flags that make them problematic. The difference is one punches you in the face with them and the other sweeps it under the rug. With BB, it only takes the first 2 episodes to see what her red flags are. She is flirting with Robert while she is involved with Phenomaman. Now, I have talked with people before that say that she gets a pass because she was planning on ending things with Phenomaman anyway, and has a good reason for breaking up with him if you read the prequel comics. And sure, I can understand that. She has every right to end a relationship that she feels is not meeting her halfway. But you don't start doing shit like this until you have severed ties with the person you are with. And the fact that she does not bring this up anytime sooner with Robert makes this worse. Because he is unaware of the situation until Phenomaman comes in at the end of episode 2. Now, this can be due to poor timing and not having a moment to mention it during the day, as Robert was busy dispatching. But there is still plenty of opportunity to bring this up. But the fact of the matter is that she is willing to do this while she's with Phenomaman. Who's to say she won't do this with Robert as well? Even after breaking things off, she is still using Robert as a rebound. First impressions are very important, and Blonde Blazer shows in the first 2 episodes that it's going to be hard to trust her. Now let's talk about Invisigal. This one's pretty obvious. She's fucking abusive. This one's pretty obvious because after giving some pretty valid criticism, she responds by abusing her powers and punching Bobby in the face. Honestly, kind of proving his point with that one. But like I said, first impressions are very important. And if this is your response to someone giving you a wake-up call speech after fucking up a mission, then you're not exactly the type of person that would be a good partner. But then there's also this scene. And yeah, this scene is also pretty abusive and toxic as well, because once again, she's abusing her power, and without consent is forcing herself onto Robert. Now people will say, oh, but you have the choice to lean in or out. Yeah, well, it's not like he exactly had a say for it in the first few seconds. Both these scenes show that she is impulsive and emotionally immature, which is very apparent throughout the game. To some, that can be a plus. She isn't afraid to say what she thinks or call it how she sees it. But to others, this shows that she's a brat. Reason number 2, they are both HR violations waiting to happen. So assuming that this world and SDN have HR departments, dating either of them is going to be a problem in itself. And they are going to get Robert in deep shit with the place he works at. With Blazer, she is his superior. And she even jokes about this in one of the endings. And when it comes to the workplace, getting involved with a superior will cause more problems than it's worth. We talked about before how she will have no problem talking to other guys when she's with someone else. And if you have to work with her, you may just have to deal with the fact that she's your boss. With Invisigal, it's the opposite. Someone on your team that is out on the field, and she's shown to manipulate Robert to get her way. So who's to say she won't stretch the truth to get him in trouble? Now, maybe my personal preference of not wanting to date where I work is speaking, but there is still so much that can happen with getting involved with either of these two. Reason number 3, Robert is a more interesting character without them. Now, this is very much a personal take, but I think the romance aspect of this game is nowhere near as interesting as the community makes it out to be. Robert's character is one where he is lost and recovering not just from the loss of his father, but also the loss of his career and identity as Mecha Man. Joining SDN, while it starts off as a frustrating 9-to-5 type of job for him, it quickly becomes a new home and family. While yes, they do end up repairing his suit and giving him a chance to be a hero again, it's clear that he grows to enjoy dispatching and spending time with the Z-Fighters. And that to me is more interesting than his relationship drama. Seeing him push back against this group of dipshits when they're arguing with each other and making them coherent is really satisfying. And I love how we go from them talking shit and not taking him seriously to seeing him as their best bud and mentor. And it's something that I want more of. The story is more engaging when it's about a lost and depressed hero who loses his meaning after his mech is destroyed, but learns to find a new home with a new batch of hooligans. That is just so much more engaging. And that is my hope for if and when we get Season 2. I want more of the Z-Warriors. I want more missions like the ones we get with Invisigal, but with the other crew members. I want more dynamics with the Synergy duos. I want to see more Sonar, Mal, and Gollum. I like Gollum, he's a funny guy. Now, if you like any of these two characters, that's fine. Hell, if your reasoning for either of them is because I think she's hot, that's a perfectly valid response. And I can see the reasoning for someone choosing both beyond just attractiveness. Invisigal requires more effort for her to get the good ending, so it can feel more satisfying to romance her. But BB is more emotionally mature, and at the end, offers a more grounded relationship for Robert. I just personally think Bobby is better on his own. But I suppose if I had to pick one, it's Mal. Mal is best girl. What, were you expecting anything else? I am the biggest Karlach fan you will meet. And Ad Hoc decided to make another hot tiefling lady. Of course I am going to like her the most. Ad Hoc, you better add her as an option in Season 2, because if not, I am marching into your studio with a duffel bag, blasting Rebel Path.